Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing The Creeping Shadow, written by Jonathan Stroud. It's book 4 in Lockwood Co Series. Here's the book. I'm really enjoying this series. It's a great read. It's a young adult fantasy series with huge paranormal aspects. It's a series that can be enjoyed by all ages, I think. I think there's something in there for everybody. I'm loving this series. This book elevates the series just to new levels, in my opinion. It brings about so many changes to the storyline, but also entwines other things from past books in the series into it. I think it's very powerful to do that. And it feels like it's also setting up book 5, which seems to be the last book in the series, according to how many there's out at the moment. But it's setting up that book to be something monumental. That's the impression I got when reading this. Before we go into the plot, what's the setting of this series? So for the last 50 years or so, London and most of the UK has been overrun by ghosts and other sort of spirits and entities. I'm not sure about the rest of the world, I don't think that's mentioned. But in London, where this book is set, where the series is set mainly, there's ghosts and spirits everywhere. And they're different powers. So we have level 1 ghosts, which are quite easy to vanquish, level 2, and then rare level 3 ghosts, which are very powerful and hard to rid. There are different agencies that are designed to deal with these visitors. That's what they call them, visitors. Some agencies are massive and some are very small. And Lockwood Co, the agency we follow and our main characters are all in, they're very small. There's 4 at the moment in Lockwood Co. It started with 3 at the start of this series, and now there's 4. So in the previous book, Holly, a new character, was introduced, and she's the new employee of Lockwood Co. That's the setting of this world. So it's modern day London, or it was at the time this was written, but with ghosts running around, and with agencies there, mostly children, so the only people who can sense spirits and entities are children and teenagers. Once they become adults, they can't. So it's interesting seeing children being employed to do this. Now, when you're reading it, it just brings about thoughts of child labour, child labour alarms and child labour warnings, but it's really child labour who's ridding all these ghosts and spirits from our realm. So they're the heroes in this story. This book starts with our heroes at Lockwood Co being visited by Penelope Fitz. Penelope Fitz owns the Fitz Agency, which is the biggest agency that rids London and the UK of spirits. She's visiting them because she likes them for some reason, and she's got a soft spot for them, and she wants their help. She thinks they're quite ingenious, they're inventive in how they do things, and there's a problem. There's a cannibal ghost that's haunting a house, and she wants their help to rid it. Doesn't really tell them why, just says she wants their help and she's willing to pay them for it. So they take the case. They're intrigued because Lockwood Co like a challenge. So as they go about doing this job, they pick up another person to help them. And his name is Quill Kipps. And he used to work for the Fitz Agency, but then he became an adult and he couldn't sense spirits anymore. And so he was kind of let go by the Fitz Agency. And he's a free agent, basically. They do solve the case of this cannibal ghost. And this just follows on for the rest of the story, because the cannibal ghost was quite a powerful ghost. And all ghosts in this book are tied to objects, and they call them cursed objects or cursed relics. And what happens usually is that when a cursed relic or cursed object is nullified, it's taken to a big furnace and they're burnt. There's a mystery playing out in this book. Are these big relics, are these powerful relics, these powerful objects, are they all being burnt in the furnaces? Because what we do find out is something's going on in the black market. There's someone in the black market who's buying up cursed objects, powerful ones. And some of these cursed objects are objects that our heroes have taken to the furnaces to get burnt. And they're found out now that those objects haven't been burnt, they've been sold in the black market. No one knows what for, and I won't go into what for in this video, because that's a very interesting and very exciting part of this book, and plays a big role in this book as well, that part of the storyline. I just wanted to mention that one little tidbit, and you can read the rest for yourself if you've not read this story before. What I will mention is there's another case that they get asked to do. They're visited by a young boy, and he says that in his home village, and in his home village I think it's a few hours out of London, there's just an influx of ghosts. There's ghosts everywhere, it seems, and a lot of people are dying, because another thing in this world is that ghosts can attack humans. Certain ghosts can. And it's called ghost touch. And basically it's a ghost touching somebody, and it like sucks the life out of them or the warmth out of people or something, and it just chills you, I think, so much that you die. So there's a lot of people in this village dying because of this ghost touch. Lockwood Co aren't really sure about it at first. They want more info before they go ahead, but something then triggers them later on and they go and investigate. But there's more to this case because there's a presence or a being called the Creeping Shadow, and this Creeping Shadow seems to be able to attract ghosts, bring ghosts into our realm from whatever realm ghosts are coming from. That's interesting. That's very mysterious in this book, and Lockwood Co are investigating that as well. That's tied into what they're trying to solve in this village. I really enjoyed this book because it's got so much intrigue, so much suspense. It opens up this whole world that's created by the author even more, and it seems to be developing certain parts of the overall storyline from all the books so far in the series. And certain characters are changing in the reader's minds as this book, book 4, progresses. And towards the end, well, the very end of this book is very shocking. There are a few twists and turns at the end of this book that I think, you have to read to believe. They're very shocking. When I read them, they're really gasp moments. They're really, your breath stops and you can't believe it because it's just very shocking. The twist is so well done. You wouldn't guess it in a million years. But when you read it, it all makes sense because it all ties into all different things that happen in all the other books. And it makes sense to the characters that these twists happen for. So I thought it was very skillful the way these twists were handled. And it seems the author has controlled all the books up to now, to these very moments at the end of this book, to have happen. So that gives me the impression that the author planned this whole series from the outset, because everything is so carefully planned and so carefully plotted in all the books so far, and they're all written very skillfully. With all the pacing in all the books is spot on. In this book especially, the pacing is just wonderful. The characters in this book are developed even more, and they interact so well in this book. When they interact now in this series, and it's happened not just for this book, I think it's happened since book 2. Book 1, not so much. Some of the interactions felt a bit awkward, but from book 2 onwards, all the interactions just feel natural. When you're reading scenes that all the characters are talking, their dialogue feels so natural. It feels like you're just in a room with people talking, just naturally, and these people know each other so well, and you get to know the characters so well because of that. I'll try to mention 3 characters I've not mentioned before in this section in previous videos for this book series. The first is Penelope Fitz, and as I said in the section on plot, Penelope Fitz is the owner of the Fitz Agency, and it's the biggest agency in London that deals with the spirit and ghost problem. They rid ghosts from haunted areas. She's an interesting character. She's very powerful. She seems to be almost the most powerful person in London in the books, and she doesn't mind throwing a weight around. And she does it very cleverly. She's very sneaky. She does things in a certain way that makes you wonder about her. What are her true motives? Who is Penelope? You get the feeling that sometimes she can be nice, sometimes she then pulls the reins, sometimes she gets her claws out. She can be quite vicious. So there's all these different sides to Penelope. But she knows that as well, and she knows how to use her influence, and you get that in the book as well. So I do like this character for different reasons, and I just wonder what her true motives are, because she just seems to be hiding things, but I'm not sure what at this stage. Skull. Now I have to mention Skull in this video. He's been one of my favourite characters right from the get-go. He's a character that's very unique, very interesting. So his character he's a ghost, but he's a very powerful ghost. And he is encaged in a glass and silver capsule, basically. and he's linked to an object. So the object he's linked to is a skull, and it's the skull of who he was when he was alive. So while he's in this glass and silver cage, he can't hurt anybody, he can't get out and do any damage. But he's a type 3 ghost, and he can communicate with Lucy in the story. Lucy is very sensitive in certain areas, in certain psychic areas, and she can have conversations, full-on conversations with this character called Skull. And the way he speaks about certain things, his dialogue is snide, sarcastic, witty, very colourful. He is very knowledgeable, and you get the sense he's very powerful, and he's always trying to get out of this cage, always trying to convince Lucy to let him go. But you'll never know if he escapes. If he does get out of that cage, what's he going to do? Is he going to hurt all the people in Lockwood Co? Is he going to help them? Is he just going to go away and never come back again? You're never sure, and Lucy's never sure as well. So in all these interactions with Skull, you get the sense you really can't trust him that much. But then again, he does nice things for them. He'll help them out. But you don't know why he's helping them out, what his true motives are. Is he helping them out because he sees them as his only chance to escape his cage and he needs to keep them alive? Is he helping them because he's coming to like Lucy and being friends with Lucy? Because in certain times you think that may be happening. But he's a very, very unique and interesting character. Rupert Gale. Now, I want to mention him in this book because he has a bigger role in this book than previous books. He's very interesting as a character. He's closely linked to Penelope Fitz. He seems to be her odd job man on nefarious missions. And he seems to have a thing for Lockwood Co. He doesn't like them, and he's not shy about hiding that. He's not shy about saying what he thinks about Lockwood Co. And it's getting to different levels now as this book goes on. He seems to want to do real harm to them. And that makes Rupert a villain in the books now, but not a 100% villain yet. I don't get that sense, but you get the sense that he's quite dangerous, and if given the opportunity, he would do harm to our heroes in Lockwood Co. I like this book very, very much. There's just so much going on in this book, so much going for it. It's almost perfect. I rate it a 4.5 out of 5. Just the way it's tying in all things from previous books into this book and creating different things as well that you just think are going to eventuate into big things happening in the next book in the series. Just so well done. The plot, the storyline, the pacing, the characters, the action, the drama, suspense, the twist towards the end especially, are all just so well planned, it seems. It just seems the author is crafting these books so well. He just knows what he wants to do in each chapter. He knows how to get there. He knows how much to give to the readers as well, how much to hide to give suspense and tension. He just is a master crafter, I think, a master storyteller. And like I've said before, this series, even though it's marketed as young adult, I think readers from all ages will enjoy this series. As I go through this series for every book, I will do a book review and put that video up on my channel. If you don't want to miss out on those videos, check out my channel and subscribe. I also have a Lockwood & Co playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.